It's Wednesday, so that means it's time for a favorite find, and I got some crazy favorite finds today. So when I was at Digstock, I met a guy and his son, Gary, and his son Sam, in the middle of the woods. In the middle of the woods, and he was wearing an Excalibur Shovels hat. And I was like, hey, do you know Casey? Well, no, that's not exactly how it went. I was like, where are you guys from? And he was like, Utah. And I was like, do you guys know Casey? Because that's where Excalibur Shovels are. And he was like, Casey Dittman? I was like, yeah. And then we just got to talking. And we took some pictures, and here's a picture of us holding up our Excalibur Shovels together, because we're a little Excalibur Shovel gang, out in the middle of the woods in North Carolina. I think about that. He came all this way, he gets to North Carolina, and I run into him in the woods. Also, by the way, there's not a lot of people in these woods that we're in. Anyway, Gary sent me an email, and it picked up my whole day. Sorry if I'm not telling this story as well as I should. But in the email, he says, I thought I'd share some of these finds that I got from an early 1800s settler's cabin. And he got permission and hunted it with his buddy Jared, who also is in a wheelchair, by the way. So big ups to you, man, for getting out there and detecting. Like, that's rough, but you're doing it. You're getting the thing. And I'll throw some pictures up of his finds too. But look at all these things that they found. Got an 1870 seated $50. Now, like, look, I want a seated $50 so bad. And we got another shield nickel and just various little things. And now, look, I know a lot of people would be like, that doesn't look like any nickel I've dug, but they're in Utah, so their ground's probably not as wet as often. I don't know. But I will go ahead and say that. Nickels get a lot of hate. A lot of hate for various reasons. They'll be like, it's not orange enough, it's not deteriorated enough, it's not XYZ. Well, it's just like how sometimes you pull out a wheat scent that looks like it was just dropped. It happens. Okay, so it is what it is. It bees like that sometimes, as I like to say. But I saw this email, and it's another example of how all the stuff we're looking for, there's still tons of examples of it out there. You can still come across virgin sites. You can still come across a settler's home. The Midwest is full, the West is still full of them. You just got to get out there and dig them, and you got to kind of chase down things that you might not normally chase down, okay? I know some of you get frustrated, you go out, you hunt public parks, and you're like, it's all been hunted out. Well, it's not all been hunted out, but it has been hunted because it's low-hanging fruit. And me and Carolina Tom have this conversation a lot. If it looks good to you, it looks good to someone else. And there's a good chance that it's been hunted. So you gotta stay looking. You gotta stay trying to find stuff. You gotta look at these maps. You gotta look at the topographicals. Use historic aerials. Use newspaper.com. That's another one you can use. If you wanna, like, you can find all kind of stuff, okay? And as a matter of fact, I'll give you a list of some places you can try to look for in your own hometown. Look for trolley stops. That's a good one, right? Because we know that most trolley operations ceased by the 1930s. Some went on through the 50s, but not a lot. They were replaced by city buses because the automotive industry were paying off politicians left and right to help promote roadways so that they would have a place that people could buy cars to drive around on. So in areas where you have trolleys, look at bus stops. Look at old payphone locations. If you can get a map to different payphone locations, people use change at payphones. You find silver dimes. The point is, you got to think outside the box a little bit. And when you drive down the street, one thing I like to do is look at gas stations. Now, when you look at a gas station, there's a real heavy chance that there's been a gas station there for a very, very long time. And if there has, there's a good chance that there was a payphone there for a very, very long time. And sometimes you can tell where they were in grass. I tend to look like wherever they have like their vacuums or their air hoses, stuff like that, grassy areas there too. So most people, they didn't reinvent the wheel, okay? One thing would go bad, they would just replace it with a new one. So if you had a payphone go down, they put in a new payphone, et cetera, over time. The same thing is true with bus stops. If you can get old maps of bus stops, I've heard stories from old timers where they found a bus stop location loaded with silver coins. I mean, just one after the other. Like you could just dig a shovel and shake it and silver coins will come out. And they're still out there. The point of these favorite finds videos isn't to make you feel bad because you haven't found something, it's to give you hope. Because there's tons of reasons and tons of things still out in the ground. You just got to go get it. Like for the past couple days, I've been trying to make a new sidewalk strip video. I've been hitting these sidewalk strips and finding nothing. Well, it doesn't make for a very good video. And like today, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna hit another one. I'm gonna hit 4 or 5 more of them. I can tell you that there's gonna be a sidewalk strip video coming out in the near future. I know that if I keep hunting them, something's gonna pop up. And if you keep hunting, things are gonna pop up. You gotta dig the holes. It's a numbers game, you know? Like I've said a million times, there's a whole bunch of YouTube channels out there that'll give you a million different reasons not to dig a hole. And I got the best reason to dig it, because you don't know what's in there. If you remember that, and if you chant, if it beeps, then repeats, dig it to yourself, and you start digging those holes, more stuff's gonna come up. Your treasure collection is gonna grow by leaps and bounds, and I can guarantee it. And if you were to ask Gary that, I'm sure he'd tell you the same thing. Because I can tell you someone who's gonna track down the location of an early settler's home, gain the permission, go out there and hunt it, he's digging the holes. I saw him in the woods, he was digging the holes. This kid, he's gonna be a hole digger, okay? This little routine, this method of behavior for detecting, it will carry you through life and make you successful in many different things. You need the tenacity, and you need willpower, and you got to dig the holes. Now, I'm on my soapbox here, I get it. But I'm telling you, you don't need to analyze a hole 17 ways from sundown. You don't need to change programs to determine whether or not to dig a hole. Put the shovel in the dirt. Put the shovel in the dirt. This is a big thing for me because I think I spent a lot of my life thinking that I needed a certain thing, or I needed a camera, or I needed to do this, or I needed all these things before I could do the thing. You don't. Okay? You don't need the best of this. You don't need the best of that. You just need to do it. And if you do it, it will pay off. Of course, in this case, we're talking about digging the hole. Anyway, I know I'm carrying on with it, okay? But if you pay attention to this channel, that's one thing that I want you to take from it. Now, I look at some of the comments here and there. Occasionally, so I'll cut up my long form videos into these shorts, and sometimes they suck, okay? Because I'm having AI do it. I already know that. And I'll look at some of the comments. Some of them are kind of hateful, you know? And I'm like, you got all this energy to sit there and hate on me, these little short videos, which are doing what they're supposed to do, which is draw people into long form content. You could be out there digging some treasure. Instead, you're watching me do it and then talking about how bad I do it. Whatever. I'm gonna keep doing it, good or bad or indifferent. And I'm gonna keep stacking these silver coins. I'm gonna keep stacking these gold rings. We're gonna grow this treasure. So it's just something to think about, a little food for thought, as it were. But anyway, I know I've gone on way too long. Gary, Sam, I hope you guys are doing good in Utah. Jared, thank you guys so much for finding the stuff and sending me pictures of it so I can share it with everyone. It's really awesome. And I hope to come to Utah and dig with you someday. I plan on going all over and digging all over the place, because this community means a lot to me. I like meeting everyone out there. I like digging the holes. I'm just a guy who likes metal detecting. I've said it once, I've said it a million times. I'm a metal detectorist who makes videos. I'm not a videographer who metal detects. Anyway, Thank you everyone who's helped support the channel. We're growing by leaps and bounds. If you want stickers or any other swag I may have at the time, or would like to submit a favorite find, email me at igetthattreasure@gmail.com. I'll send them to you free of charge. And I mean that. We got some giveaways coming up. We'll talk about that Friday's Walk and Talk. I'll see you then. And Gary, Sam, Jared, thank you so much. If you get out, I hope you get that treasure. And thank you so much for watching.